Masechet Sanhedrin Daf Lamed Zayin Amur Aleph by the Gemara towards the top. Today's daf is sponsored by Saldain in honor of his niece Avivasara Bat Esther. Minan immediately, how do we know that Sanhedrin sits in a semicircle? Marbi Hamar Brahanina Damarkra Sharech Agana Sar Al Yahsar Hamazig. Sharech Zeus Sanhedrin, the Sharech is like the belly button, the navel. That's Sanhedrin. Why? Why is it considered the navel? Because Sanhedrin sits in the center of the world. They are in the part of the Bet HaMikdash, which is considered the center of the world. Agan Shehi Megina Kulam Kulo. Sanhedrin is considered the watch, the Megina, the protector of the world. Sahara Shehi Domei L'Sahara. It's considered, so Sahara is like a moon, because it's like round like the moon. Al Yahsar Mazig Shemusrach Echad Mehem Letzed Ro'in Im Yesh Esim Shah K'neged Rin K'tarayot Zevim La Ben Ezeh. It teaches you that we don't diminish it unless we're able to, meaning if a member wants to leave, we have to make sure that we have sufficient judges. Continuing the next part of the pasuk, it says that your stomach is like wheat, because same way wheat makes a person full and satiated, so too everybody gets benefit and feels satiated from the beautiful reasoning and the thought process of the judges. So roses, even teaches you roses that even Bnei Israel won't go through halachot like roses. Like we'll explain it this. There's like Apikoros who asked Rav Kahana, he said, 1 second, a nida is able to have yechud, to be secluded alone with her husband. If shar ish bin how can you have a fire with wood chips, something flammable, and it won't burn it? You're saying you don't let yechud with other people, but a woman with her own husband, she's nida, she can't live with him. How do we have yechud like that? You should separate them. He says, yes, that's part of the beauty of Bnei Israel. There's no physical boundary to stop them from sinning, but Bnei Israel still keep their taharat mishpacha by not touching their wives that are nida. Like pomegranate, it teaches you even empty people among Bnei Israel who don't do a lot are still full of mitzvot like a pomegranate. Yaakov smelled the smell of his clothing. He didn't read we don't read it as clothing, maybe you read it as his like himself, like his people, to teach you that the Bnei Israel of Bnei Israel, the future children of Yaakov, would be smelling good. These bums in Rabbi Zera's neighborhood, Rabbi Zera was nice to them and made them his friends, so that they should eventually do teshuvah. And other Hamim didn't like this relationship. When Rabbi Zera passed away, his plan worked. So until now, we had Rabbi Zera. They called him the short person with the burnt legs because of a story that happened elsewhere. He was short, and he burnt his legs by doing a big mitzvah. Now that he passed away, who will help us? Who will pray for us on our behalf? Therefore, next part of the Mishnah said, they had 3 rows of students in front of the judges as backup. We see from here, when the students would move, they would all move to new position. The Bar says, 1 second, how is it fair? The guy might complain. 1 second, I was in row 2, number 1, now in row 1, the last one. I'm going from front to back. The Bar says, famous concept, better to be a tail to lions. Yes, you're the last one of the first row, but the first row is more hashub. So attach yourself as the tail of lions versus the head of foxes, being the chief of people who are inferior. Okay. How do we scare the witnesses when testifying by capital cases? I know how you bring them in and start scaring them. Maybe you'll say that you're testifying based on something you heard or you thought you saw, or you're repeating witness testimony from another witness. maybe you heard it from a trustworthy person. Maybe you're testifying without knowing that we'll eventually interrogate you with good questions. And also you should know that capital cases are not like monetary cases. Monetary cases, if you want to do shuvah, just give back the money in your kapara. But if you capital cases, you wrongly convict someone and they get executed because of you, their blood and the blood of their future generations, descendants will be held against you. As we say, we see Cain when he killed Hevel, his brother. Shanar Pasuk says, it says the bloods of your brother is crying out. It doesn't say the blood of your brother. The bloods to teach you. Your brother's blood and the blood of his descendants that you cut off prematurely. The definition of the word bloods. Teach you. His blood was splattered all over the nearby trees and the stones. And therefore, we see from here, we're teaching him. This is famous concepts right now, beautiful concepts. That's why Hashem created one person initially. To teach whoever destroy a single life in Eretz from Bnei Israel, he's considered by the Pasuk as if he destroyed the entire world. Whoever saves one life from Bnei Israel, it's if the Pasuk considers as if he saved everybody. You see this line a lot from all the Hatzalat. Okay, also the reason why Hashem made one person, why Hashem may create one person versus more people, because we don't want people to tell each other, oh, my father was greater than your father. If there was 30 people created first, they might say that my dad is greater than your dad, literally. But now that we all share the same forefather, we can't say that. Also, we didn't create more than one person because we don't want the Api Korsot to say, oh, you know why there was 3 men created initially? Because there's 3 gods. Probably not. Also teaches us the amazing greatness of Hashem. If a person uses the same mold to mint many coins, they all look like. He creates all men the same way he created Adam Rishon, the same basic look. But they don't look like. Therefore, a person has to say upon himself, for me, the world was created, for my sake. Now, after all this, you might scare the witnesses to death. They might say, we don't need this, I was trying to help, I'm getting too scared off, maybe I don't need this problem. So, but the Pasuk says also that if you witness something, you have to testify. You might say, maybe I don't want to be responsible for this guy getting killed because of me. Therefore, the Pasuk says, no, if a Rasha gets punished, you should rejoice. Okay, how do you testify and the witnesses? They say not to testify on something they may have not seen. What does that mean? Maybe you saw the following. Maybe you saw a person running after Shimon into an abandoned house. And you found a sword in Reuven's hand and Shimon's body on the floor, blood dripping from the sword, and the Shimon's body is twitching in death throes. If that's what you saw, and you didn't see the actual action, then it does not count. Tanya says, he said the following. He's testifying about what happened to him. He said, I saw somebody running after, same concept. I saw Reuven running after Shimon into an abandoned building. I saw the sword in Reuven's hand, blood dripping from it, and Shimon's body twitching on the floor. He told Reuven, who killed Rasha? Who killed this guy? There's no one besides me or you here. But what can I do? I know it's not me, but I can't touch you because you might it has to be testified by 2 people to be testifying it. He then cursed the man. He said, may Hashem, who knows the thoughts of people, punish that person who killed his friend. Shortly afterward, a snake killed Reuven because of his curse. Okay, 1 second. Why did he die, this murderer die, by being bitten by a snake? Hizkiah also says, right, famous concept as well. when the Beit HaMikdash was destroyed, the 4 mitot bedin, even though there's no Sanhedrin, the 4 mitot bedin was not batel. The Gemara says, lo batlu, va batlu. What do you mean they didn't stop? Of course we stopped executions. There's no Sanhedrin. The Gemara says no. The punishment of the executions did not stop. By stoning, either he'll fall from the roof or be trampled by an animal. That's similar to being the throwing off the height, and then people used to throw rocks. If someone deserves to be burnt, either he'll fall into a fire or bitten by a snake, because the snake's venom burns him. Whoever is supposed to die by beheading, which is a person who kills somebody else, either he'll be handed over to the government or he'll be attacked by robbers. Whoever is killed by strangulation, either he'll drown in river, he'll die by choking, like asthma or something in his throat. So we see the murderer was supposed to be chayav beheading. So why did he die by a snake? Which should have been, that's more serefa. The Gemara says, Amri, you say no, the reason is because this guy was supposed to actually die. He actually did another sin that he was chayav serefa, and that's why he got serefa, because we say elsewhere in the Mishnah that if someone's chayav 2 mitot bedin, you get the more severe one, which is serefa. Okay. Me'omed. Mishnah says, it sounds like only in capital cases we can't testify based off conjecture, which means like something that you may have indirectly seen. According to the if a camel was mating other camels and they were very, very violent while doing that, then you see a camel dead on the floor, we can assume this camel killed it even though you didn't see it, and you can make him chayav. So we see Rabbi Acha holds that you can accept this type of conjectural evidence. According to your reasoning, 1 second. Ed mipi ed diktani, sounds like our Mishnah said that you can't testify one witness hearing from another witness by capital cases. But it sounds like Manat here says you can't. But Mishnah says elsewhere, one witness said that Reuven told me that you're chayav money. Ed mipi ed, one is saying from another witness. Lo markum doesn't count. Unless he heard an exact admission that he owes the money. We say no, really, we hold that you cannot do conjecture, we cannot do witness testifying from another witness's testimony. But rather, we only ask by the capital cases because we're trying to be more careful, but it also applies to monetary cases. Okay, have you we tell the Mishnah says you have to be careful. You're going to kill if you're killing the person, you're chayav for descendants. Right, we see from this pasuk the fact that there was blood everywhere. We see Cain killed Hevel by hitting him many, many, many times. He didn't know what wound is considered fatal. Until he killed his throat and he killed him. When the earth opened its mouth, and it swallowed Hevel's blood. It never opened its mouth again. The edge of the earth, not the mouth of the earth. There's no more mouth of the earth. The Gemara says, Hizkiah, his twin brother, asked Rabbi Yehuda. He said, we know by Korach it opened its mouth. What are you talking about? The Gemara says, he opened again for evil, but it didn't open again for good, for a positive reason, which was helping out Hevel. Going to Galut serves as a half of an atonement, half of a forgiveness of someone's punishment. Initially, when Cain said he was being punished, he's like, well, I'll be wandering and moving around. Note that he ended up settling in Nod, which is just wanderers. He got his punishment cut in half. Exile will be mechaper for 3 things. Shneimar. It saves people from sword, hunger, or disease. Exile is mechaper for everything. You should make him childless. כי לא יצליח מזרעו איש יושב על כיסא David ומושל עוד ביהודה. Without the God כתיב, right? Before you'll be childless. And afterward it says, ובני יחוניה אסיר שאלתיאל, he had children. So we see that the galut was mechaper and he was able to have children. Asir sheibarto imo bet asurin. He's called Asir because the son's name was Asir because his mother was impregnated in prison. Shealtiel shashatlo el sholo keder hanishlin. He was called Shealtiel because Hashem allowed his mother to conceive him in an irregular way. Imiri, because we know she'en ha'isha mit'abedet bi'umad. A woman cannot be conceiving in an upright position, but she was conceived while standing. The husband was imprisoned in a very narrow cell. They lowered the wife in and they had to have relations standing up, and she still was impregnated. Another reason why it's called Shaltiel is because Hashem asked to be freed in Kaviyachol, as if Hashem used Shaltiel to be freed of his swearing that that the father won't have children, and therefore he was freed of his shivua. Hashem was freed of his shivua, and he's able to allow him to have children. Zerubbabel, why is he called Zerubbabel? Nizra, he was impregnated in Bavel. Uma Shemo was his actual name. Nehemiah ben Chachaliah Shemo, his name was Nehemiah ben Chachaliah.